What's good, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Zamir from Access to Tunes. In this video, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make a beat in Cubase 14. All right, this is a beginner to pro level video, so I'm gonna be sharing a lot of tips and tricks. So make sure to stick around until the end of this video. All right. Okay, currently Cubase 14 is on sales, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of new users who's going to be cross-grading from a different DAW to Cubase 14, which is why I'm making this video right now. I'm going to welcome you all to Cubase 14. This is the best DAW in the world, so you are in a good hand. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys one of the most important thing when it comes to beat making, and that is location of your sample. All right, so in order for you to find your samples, you can actually find it on the right zone here. Okay, this is the right zone, and you can actually go to, let me go to the home page here. So this is where you find all this stuff here. We have VST instruments, VST effects, loops and samples, presets, user presets, file browser, and favorites. Okay, so your samples will not be here. This is actually for the samples from Cubase, right? So this is the loops and samples from Cubase. You can also find some cool samples here. There's a lot of awesome sounding samples here. However, if you have a drive full of samples, you can actually find it here under the file browser, and here you can actually go ahead and find them like under this computer. You can go ahead and find your drive where you have all your samples and stuff. I have a lot of samples here. It's called battery samples because I used to use battery plugin last time. That was back in Cubase 5. So I'm just like, I don't want to rename the samples anymore or this folder's name. So I'm gonna be sticking with battery samples for now. But if in case you have a folder where you save all your samples, you can go ahead and find them right here, all right? But I don't like to actually go here to this computer and find my stuff here, which is why I like to have them under the favorites category here. So all you have to do is just right click on it and click on add to favorite. So it's going to be appearing here. So battery samples, if I click on it, it's going to show up right below here. All right, so this is where all my samples available. Okay, and once you have added here, you can also rename them. So you can right click on it and go to rename the favorite, or if you want to remove the favorite, you can also do that. Sometimes we may accidentally add some of the folders to this favorite, so we don't want that, right? And this update favorite is basically for, let's say you already open up Cubase and suddenly you actually downloaded some samples and you put it in that folder, right? If that happens, what you can do, one thing is you can restart Cubase, so it's going to be refreshing the folder. Okay, I don't like to do that. I like to just go ahead and update the favorite folder like so. So now every new files that I've transferred to this drive is going to be refreshed and it's available right below here. All right, so that's how you can locate your samples. So now let's go ahead and audition those samples. So let's find some nice folder. Okay, let me see this one. Okay, we have kick here. Okay, so obviously you can click on these samples and then you can use your mouse to select the next samples, right? And then if you use your mouse wheel, it's going to scroll down this folder so you can see other samples that's available in this folder. You can also use the arrow key on your keyboard, so you just press down arrow key. It's going to be auditioning all those samples. As you guys can see, it's very quick. So the moment I press, it's going to be playing the sample already. Great. Right, so let's say you like one of these samples, you can just right click on it, go to create sampler track. This is how I used to make beats before we have the drum track, but right now I'm using drum track most of the time. All right, so yeah, let me just remove this real quick. Okay, so if you don't hear the samples when you're clicking on these samples, okay, you have to click on this autoplay. Okay, if I don't have it here, if I don't have it selected, it's not going to play any of the samples. So make sure this is enabled. Okay, this is important. Right, so like I said, you can actually right click and then add it to a sampler track, or you can just drag and drop it to the project window like so. Some of the producers like to use this way. I don't know why. They like to just copy and drag it to the right like so. They program the drum like so. Okay, so let me just loop this. Okay, so some of the producers they like to use this method. So let's say you have added the sample to the project window and you felt like, oh, this is not the sample that I want to use, right? So what you can do, you can go ahead and audition other samples and then go and drag it to the project window and you press shift and drop it. Okay, now you get this option. Do you want to modify all events that refer to the same audio material, right? So if you want to have all of these samples replaced with the new samples, just click on all, right? So now it's playing the samples that you have dropped on the project window. So this is really useful, right? I like to do that. Okay, you can adjust the level here. So if you want to hear the samples louder, you can just increase the volume, right? If you want it to be lower, you can adjust it like so as well, okay. And then here is the cycle. Okay, when you click on this, it's going to be repeating the samples, right? So sometimes if you are looking for maybe a piano samples with a couple of chords for 4-bar or something, and you want to audition it, and you can actually enable this loop and just play it until you get an idea of whether you want to use this sample or not, right? So that is file browser. So that's all you need to know at the moment. Okay, now let's go ahead and add the drum track. So for drum machine, right here, drum track, you can actually go here and add a drum track. Okay, and then you can select, let's name them real quick. Okay, so drums, right? Drums is usually red, so let's change them to red. Now if I like a drum samples, I can go ahead and add it to this pad here. Okay, you notice that it's louder than the one here, right? Because this one I've reduced the volume here, and this one full level. So you can adjust the level here, right? So usually most of the time I like to minus 9 dB. Yeah, it's actually in the safe level, right? So let's go ahead and add a few more instruments or samples here. Okay, let's have that one. Snare. Okay, like that. Okay, another one. Okay, I like to keep my hi-hat right on the bottom right. Okay, let's use this one. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do once I added my samples is I like to name them properly. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the group right now. Okay, here, double click on it, just type the name. So this is the kick, and let's go to the snare. Okay, we have perk. Okay, what is this? Hi. Okay, and this is the second snare. Snare 2. Okay, so now you notice that only one of the sample here, which is the kick, the level is a bit lower than this one, right? Because I've changed the level earlier. Remember, I went and typed in minus 9 dB. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust the other samples as well. I can do it right here, or I can go back to the instrument here and adjust them accordingly. So 9 dB, right? So you can click on it and then bring it down, or you can go to the group and then double click 9 dB, 9 dB, and 9 dB. So let's quickly program a drum beat now. Okay, I'm going to click on this and it's going to create a drum pattern editor. you right click on this on the track and go to track control settings, event type, and then click on add. Okay, we want this event type, right? So I'm gonna hit OK. If you notice just now, when I double click on it, it opens up this pattern editor, right? So if I'm producing a drum track right now, I will usually want to have the pattern editor. However, if you go and click on this button here and now you double click on it, it's going to open up a MIDI part, right? So that is definitely useful if I'm writing a melody, right? It's because it's going to open up the piano roll, right? So this is where you can actually select whether you want to have a pattern editor or a MIDI part, right? So you can select it here, and you can also see which type of event is enabled now. So you can see that this MIDI part here. So when I double click on here, it's going to be opening a MIDI part. But if I change this to pattern editor, and you can see it here, right? Pattern event. Sorry, it's not pattern editor, it's pattern event. Okay, so that's that. Make sure you guys are aware of that. Okay, let's program a drum real quick. So, oh yeah. Wait. Sorry. I'm gonna have to delete this. Okay. So this is just a basic way of programming drums. Let me just change this to a slower tempo. 101. Okay, actually I don't like this drum. I don't like this kick. Let me change. Now. Okay, so let's quickly program a drum pattern now. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to right click on here and I'm going to go to setup lane controls and I'm going to click on this add steps, right? Okay, now when I click on this, it's going to create this pattern for me, so I can just go ahead and then adjust the velocity. Let's add some more snare here. Okay, let's add a little bit of swings. Okay, and I want to add a little bit more swings to the snares. So that's the first pattern, right? If I want to have a different pattern, I can do that by clicking on this. Now it's the second pattern, but when I play this one, it's going to be playing the first pattern. So what I can do, I can actually duplicate them and I can click on this button and go to second pattern, right? So let's loop this one as well. All right, so now I can drag this one, the first pattern, to be repeated at the third bar, and then the fourth bar is going to be playing this one. Okay, but I'm gonna have a variation, so let's duplicate them again and let's have a few more stuff happening here. Okay, oops, let's change this. All right, so that's the dopest beat ever, right? So now we have a 4 bars of really good beat, right? Okay, let's say I'm gonna mix these drum patterns. What I do is I go to the drum machine again and I go to the group, right? So right now I'm gonna be changing the output. I'm gonna have out 2. I wanna have the kick to go to the output 2 and then snare to output 3, percussion to output 4, hi-hat to the output 5, and then snare 2 to output 6. Okay, so if you guys ask me why did I name this pad, right? Okay, this is why. I'm gonna go ahead and click on this drop down menu. You can see all these stuff here. It's so awesome. It's already named for me. So now let's say I'm gonna be mixing this track. I can see all these names, guys, right? So I can make sure that it's not clipping. It's all in a good level at the moment, right? So this is really, really cool. Another tips that I'd like to share with you guys is that please remember to always render these as a audio track, right? So sometimes if you want to mix, you want to use this, it's okay, it's good, but ideal way of using these samples is by rendering it to an audio track. Unfortunately, with the pattern event, we are unable to render it as an audio. So what I can do is, okay, I'm gonna click on this one and go to convert event to part, right? So now when I right click on it, go to render, and I'm going to go to render settings, and I'm going to click on channel settings, right? So I'm going to render this real quick, and now you can see all these drums is being rendered with their awesome names already there, and it's all like multi-tracks, right? And if you guys notice that this is actually muted as well, okay? So that's really speed up my process. Okay, so I show you guys how to use the output to mix, but then the best way is always remember to use the audio. Okay, so make sure to render them. So okay, I'm gonna cut this video right now because I don't want it to going too long. I'll be doing more videos about sampling, about using all these Cubase awesome features to make beats. So stick around and make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, smash the like button, and share this video to everybody you know. Alright, so thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.